Turning over to Psalms, chapter 100. I would say I'd try not to hold very long, but I'd be done in about 2 minutes if that was the case, if I shortened it down any than normal. But tonight I've got a topic that the Lord's given me that I guess is very strange to be brought up this way. I've told you to turn to Psalms, and that's the main part of the Scripture. But in Micah chapter 3, and it'll be on the screen here, is what we're going to get into. It says, "Will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. But I say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings. Ye have cursed with a curse, for ye have robbed me, even this whole nation." Now, I don't know how long some of y'all have been in church. Some of you may have been in church for a long while. Some of them very short. But a lot of times this Scripture here is used to try to boost people into tithing. To try to tell you the importance of giving, how important it is to give to God, about how what we look about as a 10% tithe is a very important thing. And I'm not going to discount that, because giving to God and for the upbuilding of God's kingdom is very important. It's considered somewhat of an act of worship. But the topic that I've got this evening is, are you robbing God? Are you robbing God? Think about that for a minute. I'll talk for just a little while on how every Sunday we all rob God. Now, I know some of you are just thinking, I give tithes this morning. But it's not just this Sunday. Last Sunday, you probably robbed God too. Oh, Micah, I give tithes on Sunday too. I know you're thinking that. But that's not where I'm going. Now, I know several of you are probably thinking, now, Micah, what business is it of yours of how much that I give God? And it's not. It's not any of my business how much you give God. That is between you and God. And when you say that's between you and God, you're exactly right in that. But let me ask you a question. When you come to church this morning, or when you come to church tonight, why did you come? Why did you come? When you got ready and said this is Sunday, why did you come? Did you come because you were starving to have a little more God, or come because it was Sunday? You know, sometimes our mindset when we come into the house of the Lord is not of what's going on in the house of the Lord. It's what to come afterwards. How many times on Sundays do we get so wrapped up in what's coming up later or what's coming up on Monday, instead of giving God what's due His and let Him work in our lives each and every single day, but especially on Sunday. You know, so often we forget about how important, and I think a lot of times we look around and me and Dad's had several talks about, for instance, tonight, our church attendance. Of course, we ain't got very many less than we had this morning, but we think about how important it is to come to church. You know, I realized at a very young age, it didn't kill you to come on Sunday night and Wednesday night. It didn't kill me. I'm still here. But I can remember many times in my life where my life would have been a whole lot harder if I hadn't had those Sunday nights and Wednesday nights in there. I can think of very many times in my life that the lessons that I've learned about the Word that God had for me planned for those Sunday nights and Wednesday nights were important to me. Maybe not just for me, but to help others grow closer and be able to use the Word that He's given us to help lead others to Him. Are we robbing God today? In Psalms chapter 100, it says, "Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all you lands. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before His presence with singing. Know ye that the Lord, He is God. It is He that hath made us, and not we ourselves. We are His people and the sheep of His pasture. Enter into His gates with thanksgiving, and into His courts with praise. Be thankful unto Him, and bless His name. For the Lord is good. His mercy is everlasting, and His truth endureth to all generations." So often we get caught up in worship and in giving to God as we think of worship, right? When we think about giving to God, we think of some form of worship. We sit and sing songs and how that makes us happy and how that just blesses our heart and how that's a form of worship. I'm not going to discount that any either. It is a form of worship. But where does that come from? As a church, we rob God every Sunday not because of our lack of giving of money, but because of the lack of giving of ourselves. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to ask you to be honest. If none of the get real moment, say get real. Just making sure everybody's away. How many has already sat through this church service thinking of something that they're going to do afterwards? I have. I'm going to be honest with you. I have. Sitting here thinking a few minutes ago, sitting over there playing on the piano. Matter of fact, if you want to get technical about it, thinking of what all I had to do after church, and shame on me. Shame on me, because this is God's time. This is my time that I've set aside every week to give to Him, to honor Him, to glorify Him. When I come into to His house to worship Him, it should be all about Him. Does everybody agree with that? Say amen.
Amen.
That sounds like a lot of amens. Maybe we're getting somewhere. When we think about giving, we think about tithing. We want to say that it's between me and God. And if you think about other things, not just tithing, you say that it's between me and God. And though it really is, you really mean it's between you and you. And then you will let God know what you decide. Are we guilty of that? We get to thinking about a prayer request that we have for God, and we're not really wanting God to answer that prayer. We're just wanting to run it by Him to see if it's okay. Right? Are we guilty of that sometimes? It's not a prayer request asking God to answer that. We're just trying to run it by Him and see if that's okay. You know, if a bolt of lightning shoots down or a clash of thunder goes off when we ask that, we probably might already say we would better back up. But that's about the only thing going to stop us from doing whatever that is. Me and Dad were driving back from Oneida yesterday and coming through the park, and it was beautiful through there yesterday. It was beautiful through there yesterday, wasn't it, Dooley? I mean, it was just pretty just to see God's amazing creation down through the gorges and the river and all that down through there. But we were talking about so many times in our lives that we ask God for guidance. But like I said a minute ago, we're not really asking God to answer a prayer, to give us guidance. We're wanting to run it by Him. How many times in our life have we had an opportunity, such as a job opportunity or a relationship opportunity or whatever, what have you, or a possession or whatever, that we've just run that by God and not really waited on the answer, just run and done it anyway. And if we may have waited on God to answer that, on our God to answer that question, that He may have said no. No, because whatever that is may hinder your relationship with me. Whatever that may be, that job may cause you to have to be out of town every weekend, or whatever the case may be, or that causes you to miss church a lot, that hinders your relationship because it puts you in a spiritual bind. It puts you in a spiritual bind because you can't worship Him. You can't give to Him. You don't set aside that time to honor Him and give yourself to Him because of that. Are we robbing God of the glory that He deserves this evening? Are we robbing God of the praise and adoration that He's so worthy of by not giving of ourselves? Are we rushing into things without even asking Him, just running it by Him to see if it's okay? Not really wanting an answer. When we say it's between me and God, are we meaning that it's between me and me, and I'll fill God in later? All too often, we're that way, aren't we? We talked about in Sunday school this morning. We talked about that it's all about me, right? I don't remember what the title of the lesson really was, but that was the gist of the story about being selfish, about of how selfish we are. We've become a church that's so selfish that sometimes we let God come out of the picture. We've become so selfish that we think about how can we work our schedules around honoring God instead of sitting back and letting God have His way in their lives. Talking about robbing, I found this very interesting. I don't know, Abby thought I was pretty geeky about looking it up. But she thinks I'm pretty geeky a lot of the time. But the highest robbery rate in the U.S., does anybody know where that is?
I think so.
The highest robbery
Highest robbery rate
in the U.S.
in the U.S. is Oakland, California. It's pretty, just FYI there. Lowest is Plano, Texas. I guess that's how it's got its name. I don't know. It's just Plano, Texas. They don't do nothing there. It's just Plano. But in our church tonight, are we more like Oakland or are we more like Plano? Are we robbing God blind? Are we stealing Him blind of the glory that He deserves? Are we not heeding to His call, like the psalm said? We're not listening for the call, or when He calls upon us to be obedient to Him. Are we not listening for that call? Are we robbing God tonight? Let's all stand. How many just looked over at somebody beside them and said, "It's 5:30, we're getting out early tonight"? Anybody do that? I just give you a chance to stretch your legs, so I've got another 30 minutes left. I'm joking. But tonight, I want us as a church to say to ourselves, if it takes you closing your eyes to be able to talk to yourself, sometimes I have to do that. Say, from this point forward, I'm not going to rob God anymore. He's given me more than I ever deserved already. I'm not going to take more from Him. I'm going to give back to Him. I'll never give enough back to give Him what He deserves. That should never keep us from trying, should it? I'll never be able to repay God. Never be able to repay Jesus for what He's done. But that doesn't mean I should stop trying. I want us as a church to look up and say, we're not robbers in this church. We're not stealing from God. We're going to give Him what He deserves. And the only thing He asks of us, it's not a wallet so thick that it makes you sit sideways. It's not the finest of clothes. It's not the finest ride in town. The only thing He asks of you, poor, rich, whatever you want, ugly, or as pretty as Mickey, whatever it is, the only thing He asks for is you. That's all He asks for. He wants you. He wants 100% of you. Not 50%, not 75% of you, not even 99%. He wants 100% of you. I want us as a church to be obedient to Him, to give Him what He deserves. Let's pray. Heavenly